Hi everyone, Namaskar. Somebody recently asked me, what is meditation? And this answer was a little bigger to explain in details. So, here, what I feel it is. Meditation is something that most people have heard about. Few have true conception about, and even fewer of them have actually experienced what meditation is. And like all other subjective experiences, it cannot really be described in the words. The person should try to find it himself to know what it is really about. The experience is real, whereas a description is really non experience, especially in the case of meditation. However, let's try to first understand the way modern psychology has categorized different factors of the mind. The subconscious or unconscious mind can, roughly be divided into three sections: the lower mind, the middle mind, and the higher mind. Lower mind is mostly concerned with the activation and coordination of various activities of body, such as your respiration, circulation, various other functions, and so on. It is also the area which gives rise to the instinctive urges, and it is from this part only of the mind that your complexes, your phobias, your fears, your obsessions, they manifest. The middle mind is actually the part of the mind that concerns itself with the data that we are using during the state when we are awake. It is the middle section of the mind that analyzes, compares, and reaches to conclusions in relation to the incoming data. The result of its work manifests to our conscious attention as required. It is actually this part of the mind that gives us the answers. Say, supposing when you're facing a problem, where you feel that you cannot solve it at that point of time, and later something surfaces to your consciousness and you feel you got the answer. It is actually your middle subconscious that has done the problem solving without your awareness. This is actually the realm of rational and intellectual thinking. And then comes up your third higher mind. The higher mind is the area of, so called superconscious activity. It is the source of intuition, source of inspiration, source of bliss, and all of the various transcendental experiences. It is actually from this reason that most of the geniuses derive their flashes of creativity. It is the source of a very deeper knowledge. Whenever we are awake, most of you are awakened hours. We have our consciousness of certain phenomena, we are conscious only of a certain part of the activities of the mind, usually in the realms of the middle mind. Usually it is this consciousness that is allowing you to read the words, or calculate, or be aware of the meaning of the things, paint the scenarios. Another part of your mind is the collective unconscious. It is in this part of the mind that we have records of our evolutionary past. It contains records of the activities of our ancestors and archetypes. It is the part of the mind that links us to all other human beings because it is the blueprint of our common past. Behind all these different parts of the mind is the self, or the very core of existence. It is your this self that illuminates everything that we do. that we are not aware of it. Most of us assume that the center of our being is the ego, yet the ego is really no more than another part of the mind. It is the self that your ego is also illuminated. So, actually, what happens when we meditate? When we meditate, we are able to take our consciousness to different parts of the mind. Normally, as I told you, our consciousness is confined to surface activity in small areas of the middle or the rational parts of unconsciousness. We are able to move away from intellectualization during the meditation. It is the usual experience that most people who start to meditate, they see weird things or they become aware of deep rooted complexes that they perhaps didn't know existed within them. They realize that they have fears that they were not aware of before. And the reason is simple. The reason is that the consciousness is now functioning in the domain of the lower mind. The consciousness is now highlighting complexes, fears, etc., of which it was not previously aware of. Before, it was only aware of the manifestations of these fears in the various forms of symptoms, maybe, the anger, the hatred, depression. Once these deep rooted complexes are confronted, they can be removed, and greater happiness can be attained in life. Also, some people become very, very aware of the internal processes of their body during meditation. It is because the consciousness becomes aware of the activities that control these bodily functions. Higher stages of meditations are actually difficult to attain if we don't remove most of the compulsive fear that we have in the lower mind. It is not possible to go much into deeper states of meditation because these complexes which you possess are so compulsive that they seem to almost automatically draw the consciousness towards their attraction. Though the consciousness can go to another places, but these deep rooted complexes, they just attract like a magnet and the iron, and and your consciousness is drawn towards them. Your consciousness uh, take delight in dwelling in your fears, phobias, and anxieties. Whereas in the higher states of meditation, the consciousness moves to the higher mind or the region of the superconscious. The consciousness rises above your rational thought, and we see the activities that seem to be closer to reality. The person enters the dimension of inspiration, intuition, illumination. The person starts to explore the deeper truths and aspects of existence. The person enters new spheres, new lands of existence, which until this time were almost impossible and mere figments of imagination. The culmination of this meditation is self realization. This occurs when your higher mind is also transcendented. That is when you realize who I am, who am I. At that point of time, the consciousness leaves the exploration of the mind and identifies with the central core of your existence, the self, the me. At this point, it becomes a pure consciousness. When a person achieves this self realization, it means that he has contacted his central being and now identifies his existence, his life, from the viewpoint of the self and not from the standpoint of the ego. When he acts from the center of his being, at that time the body and mind, they operate almost as separate entities. The mind and body cease to be the real him. They don't anymore remain the real him, which previously he was thinking this body and mind is real me. The mind and body, they only remain the manifestations of yourself, your true identity. So basically, the aim of meditation, I would say, in my opinion, is to explore the different regions of the mind and eventually to transcend the mind completely. Namaskar.